Okay, so many of you have been asking as to what my thoughts are on the latest two Star Trek movies by J.J. Abrams. So, I decided that I would do a commentary for you on the entirety of the two films. So I will be watching the two movies. Unfortunately, there's not really a way for me to tell you when to... There's not really a way for me to have a video so that you can just hear my lovely voice as you're watching the movie, because that would have copyright issues. But what I can do is tell you when I hit the play button on the DVD. So that's what we're going to do. But anyway, as a fair warning, this is not going to be the most well thought through critique of the film. I will be saying more or less what I think as I watch it, which, as far as I'm aware, is more or less what everyone wants to hear, is just my reactions to it. So this will not be necessarily a technical critique with all sorts of comments about timeline issues or technological problems or just random I don't like J.J. Abrams cinematography things. So it'll just be kind of my random thoughts on the film. So, with that having been said, let us engage, as they say. So I am hitting the play button now. Okay, so it's rated PG-13. Hooray. Lots of Star Trek movies are rated PG-13. First Contact, for instance. It's taking its time. Okay, and now we see the Paramount stars. Very cool. But with a different theme than I'm used to. So, that's one thing that I'm just going to say from the get-go. I would have liked to hear the Star Trek motif a little bit more. Okay, Spyglass. Hooray. The music is very well composed, though, I will say that. And Bad Robot. Yes, very bad. Very nasty. Let's build tension. Yay! Lights. More shiny lens flares. Yay, okay. And sonar in space. It sounds like it's supposed to be the front view screen from the original series, but we can hear it from outside, and so we're trying to make it sound like some sort of retro space movie. Cool. And the starship is not consistent with anything of what we saw from that timeline. Lightning storm in space? You mean plasma discharges? Can't see lens flares. View screens are computer screens. They don't need to be polarized. No, I can't see anything. Good. Spiky ship, because that's an entirely practical thing to have, especially as a mining vessel, because it's hovering in frickin' space. And now we have a Borg type look. Massive bad guy, little good guy. Bluetooth headsets. Now, missiles. That looks more like Star Wars, buzz droids and such. And our shields are totally ineffective. Classic sound effects. Okay, there we go. There's something. And you need your communicators to contact the bridge when you're next to communications device. Great. And flying into space. Now the good thing in this particular spot is there's no sound in space. Side note, that insignia on this shirt was not invented for a while. Let's negotiate a ceasefire. Romulans don't say hello. We'll just leave it at that. Now the captain has to make a decision. Am I going to be an idiot and fly over to the other ship, or I'm going to die? Thor is confused. And we can walk through the turbo lifts, apparently. This movie seems to have a lot of things about Kirk's becoming captain through unfortunate circumstances. And engineering looks like... I have no idea what that's supposed to be, aside from just random... It doesn't look like it's from the future. And we have a plastic thing on the shuttlecraft, like in a meat cooler, because that makes total sense. Okay, I can't see the shuttle flying. Okay, let's fly into the heart of the beast. And the nacelles glow in the back, because they did that in the old series. Oh, look, that looks like V'ger opening up. Wonder where they got that idea. Meat packer cooler thing. Doors open. Smoke. Lots of smoke. And we never did that in the original series, was watching people's heart rate on the bridge monitor. Okay, so we're hearing spoken Romulan, that's cool, but none of these things look like they're actually Romulan technology. And all the Romulans are bald and tattooed, and Romulans aren't like that. I am not familiar with that craft. It doesn't even follow any sort of design that makes sense. Good question. I'm just going to glare at you. I can attack because I glare. No one knows who Spock is. Okay, first off, you should have asked the stardate beforehand. Your stellar cartography should have been able to figure that out. Oh, where are you from gets you dead. Terminated. He has been terminated. Full power. So you kill the captain, you figure out you're in the wrong time, now you just obliterate witnesses. Because that totally makes sense. General Order 13. Okay. And now we have Star Wars blasters and a tiny little joystick on the captain's chair. Cool. Oh, look, it's Emma. No, that's supposed to be Joanna Kirk. But the question is, why is she on the ship? She wasn't in Starfleet, and that's supposed to not have changed in the timeline difference. Medical shuttle. Because an exploration ship has specified medical shuttles instead of just normal shuttles. And doctors were plastic now. Manual operation. That stinks. There's a communications place. That makes good. That works. Okay, this one didn't have the meat cooler thing. He's on the bridge. Imagery. Shuttles are coming out of the shuttle bay tube as a child is being born. He's destined for Starfleet. Thanks, JJ. We needed to see that. And the shuttles are getting blown up by all sorts of fun things. Cool. But George managed to hit the missile that was about to hit his wife's shuttle. Good job, Ace. Why aren't you using the transporters? It also... You don't need an autopilot, really. Because in space, you just push and you keep flying. But I'm going to sit in the captain's chair while the ship just flies into the bad guy instead of turning the engine on and running to the transporter room. So I'm just going to sit here and wait for impact when I'm not pushing any buttons, because obviously I need to still be there to pilot the ship when it's flying on its own. Oh, look, here's Jim. But he's not Jim yet. Yeah, babies are pretty, yeah. Yes, I wish he was there too, because he would have been. That would make sense. My question is, when did Tiberius become a popular first name again? So, you name someone a nickname, not a full name. Okay, the engines are coming apart and the ship is still flying forward. Yeah, and we see a big explosion, but we don't see a warp core breach. Nero's ship should be gone. Basically, even an old school ship would destroy that, because a warp core breach is quite big. Oh well. Now we see shuttles flying away, and we get adventure music. Ooh, welcome to our brand new happy theme, because we're not anything like you've seen before. We are new, awesome, turning, oh look, Star Trek, because we're great. Yeah, and a lens flare to boot. Tells you what's to come. Great. And here comes the best scene in the whole movie. He's driving a car in Iowa. First off, how does a small kid even see over the frickin' steering wheel? And how does Kirk know how to drive a stick? Nokia. So let's remove the roof of this antique vehicle while driving and then break it. So are we trying to say that Kirk is a punk, rebellious, and we have hitchhikers in the future? Oh wait, that's George Kirk, his older brother. So George is running away from home too, but Jim decided to go all out and drive the car. And now he's got RoboCop chasing him. Cool. Citizen, pull over. That doesn't sound like a futuristic Big Brother state at all. So we're driving in Iowa. It's nice and flat. It's nice and flat. Oh, wait. Crater! Where did that come from? There is... And let's drive and dump the car down the crater and then catch yourself right before you fall. And the car exploded. We heard that. Okay. Yeah. What's their problem? You drove your uncle's car off the cliff. Big reveal. So James Tiberius Kirk is a punk. Okay. And now we go to Vulcan to see the second half of the dynamic duo from the original series. Okay. Here's Vulcan. Looks more like... that's okay, except we have buildings hanging from the ceiling. Okay, so Vulcans are really smart. They stand in little upside-down dishes with holograms around them, talking all the time, instead of the little tiny glass screen going, asking questions. Correct? Correct? Nope. Now we just keep on seeing chemicals and things fly past us all the time, because Vulcans can totally process it that quickly. Oh, good, he's done. Vulcan bullies. This makes total sense. Affirmative. Why not indeed? That would sound more Vulcan. Fifth attempt. Neither human nor Vulcan. Okay. And these Vulcans are not emotional at all. Okay, so it makes sense that a human would pitch someone into a pit for insulting his mother. But what doesn't make sense is a Vulcan calling a human woman a whore, or Vulcans looking surprised. They don't understand Vulcans. And that hood makes total sense. A traitor. Somehow I feel like someone watched the last couple episodes of Enterprise right before watching this. Before writing this. Yep, Sarek would say something like that. Logical. Yeah, it's logical to marry a human. Right. Spock is fully capable of deciding his own destiny. That is very true. See, this is still fairly consistent with the Spock character, aside from some of the over-emotion. That's a little much. Okay, now we see Amanda. Sweater looks like a semi-Romulan outfit. So applying to Starfleet is a bad thing. Disadvantage. Somehow, I don't think a Vulcan would say something like that. Oh boy. So now we get the Spock going, piss off. No Vulcan has ever declined. Oh, consternation. I'm so angry. Mm-hmm. That live long and prosper sounded like go jump off a cliff. Yeah. Oh, look, bar in the middle of a cornfield. Maybe that is what Iowa looks like. I don't know. But why is Starfleet? Why are Starfleet cadets in Iowa? That's nowhere near San Francisco. Oh well. Yeah, a Morn wannabe. Cardassian sunrises. I'm not entirely sure that Starfleet really knows who the Cardassians are at this point. So Kirk is a drunk dude. You're gonna make that name up. Well, she was just called Uhura. Xenolinguistics. Yes, and so let's turn that into an innuendo. Well, he is a dumb hick right now. He's just intelligent. So suddenly, a dude hitting on another cadet who's just being a putz is suddenly an offense. And so now let's punch him in the face and team up on him, because he's just one guy. But then he kicks him across the table, and so then the rest of the cadets decide to join in, and let's just wreck a bar. And now Uhura punches him. Okay. Because, so we see Starfleet cadets, and now we see a Starfleet captain inexplicably appearing at just the right moment in a bar in the middle of nowhere in Iowa. Neither could I. Kelvin, dissertation. No one believes in no one scenarios. Okay, that seems to be a classic Kirk thing they're trying to bring in. The Starfleet's the only option. Yeah, he was. He was meant for a correct timeline. Enlist. So you're telling him to be not an officer, because enlisting in Starfleet means going to the academy. Not true. Ship in 8 years. That never happens. I'm not sure who exactly explained the possibilities of military rank to these guys, but captain of a starship in 8 years, after having been in the academy for 4 of those 8, makes a lot of sense. Dare you to do better than your dead dad. Okay. Challenge to do better. Sacrifice yourself. Fair enough. But suddenly we have a salt shaker that looks like a starship. That looks like the Kelvin in the middle of Iowa. Right. Okay, driving through more cornfields with huge buildings in the distance in Iowa. Not sure. So we're driving on the road? No, we're not driving on the road. Stop and stare. Why are we building a starship on the ground when with gravity? You build starships in space because you don't have the structural integrity held to keep it together without the nacelles bending off. Besides, the ship was built in San Francisco shipyards, not Iowa. The shuttle has some wear and tear on it. I see that JJ's trying to bring some of that Star Wars wear and tear lived-in thing. Do it in 3. Right. Watch your head. Low clearance. Classic gag. Seatbelts, something that we never see in Star Trek, but now we do. And here comes one of the best actors from the movie. I may throw up in you. I may too. That would not be exactly fun. Yes. Starfleet operates. And the shuttle is flying to San Francisco. You're not flying into space. So now we explain the nickname. I guess that works. McCoy, Leonard H. And here we go. There's some of the Star Trek motif. Some of it. 1701. Oh, things that are to come. 3 years later. Oh, look! It's the bad guys. They just sat on their hands for 25 years doing nothing. Why? because it's more cool for me to stare and mope for 25 years. You could save your planet in 25 years. You could warn them. But no. We're going to sit here and wait. And we're waiting for Spock. Yeah. Okay, here we have another black hole, and one of the strangest ships that I've ever seen. Okay, Starfleet Academy. Well, they're definitely playing up the fact that he's a ladies' man. And now we definitely know that Kirk is a Xeno ladies' man. Yeah, Orions really like having people, having guys. Orion women are that sort of thing. And suddenly it's Uhura. Aurora Pente, I bet. Oh, great. This is oh, boy. Oh, I hear classic Star Trek sound effects. Oh, boy. Let's turn Captain Kirk into an cocky pain in the ass. No, he's not. Pew, pew. Apple. In case you didn't know, Kirk is eating an apple in Wrath of Khan when he talks about doing this. So, tip of the hat, but it just manages to make Kirk look like a butthole. Shields are down. One photon. If it's on their warp core, yeah. But it's not. The Spock programmed the test. So we're going to have this huge thing instead of a private thing and then a court-martial later. Whatever. he can only have graduated a little bit before that. Yep, he did cheat. Ah, there it is. So suddenly Spock is intimately familiar with all of this, of where Kirk is from, and yes. Uh-oh. Distress call from Vulcan. Primary fleet is the Laurentian system doing what? And so suddenly all the cadets are going to be on ships. McCoy likes Spock. Huh. Let's just do that for irony's sake so the fans can laugh at that. Welcome to Starfleet. They're already in Starfleet. They're in the Academy. And we still use wheeled forklifts. And our backgrounds are plasma streams on our computers now. Cool. And then McCoy thinks better of it. And Uhura's pissed. Why? So now you're going to try to blackmail an instructor. What is the difference between the Enterprise and the Farragut at this point? So blackmail works in Starfleet. That makes sense. The hypospray doesn't hurt like that. So McCoy, who's still a cadet, is a senior medical officer on the Enterprise. I really think that these guys have no idea how rank works. Now Kirk gets to return the favor of puking on McCoy. But lens flares through the window. We can't see anything. Great music, but we're missing something kind of important, and that's a very weird starbase. That's not the thematic motif for the ship. I don't know what else to say. They're looking at it. Wow, it's cool. Yeah. It's a new Enterprise. Yay, everybody! It's nice and shiny and blinky and flary and huge, much bigger than what you're used to, and redesigned entirely because JJ and company knows exactly what you want to see. Especially engineering filmed in the Budweiser plant. Well, at least McCoy's starting to use that. Okay, so, great thing. We're in engineering, the bottom of the ship. And now, we're all the way at the top of the ship. That was like 5 seconds. A turbolift doesn't move that fast without you feeling some sort of gravitational problem. Pike was not the first captain of the Enterprise. And there she goes, away from space dock as well. Here comes the rest of the fleet. Oh. Course laid in, okay. Maximum warp. Punch it, not engage. Just punch it, okay? And everyone else goes, boom, boom. And we get an Excelsior-ish moment. No one knows why. The ship isn't started. Yes, he's a pilot. Parking brake. Parking brake. External inertial damper. Those don't exist. You have internal inertial dampeners to keep everyone in the ship okay. Ooh, Star Wars lines. Cool. Sick bay. Not medical bay. Sick bay. And he's apparently 17 and an officer already. And that's Majel Barrett, classic computer voice. Victor, Victor. Let's make fun of Chekhov's accent. Let's explain the situation. Generally, at this point, the captain explains the problem, not a random ensign. And especially not your operations officer. So he heard that somehow. Big hands. Okay, let's just have another medical gag at Kirk and McCoy's expense. We'll have to stop the ship because no one else would figure out that that thing would be there. Even Pike, who did a dissertation on the whole thing. More stabbing hypersprays. Okay, this room doesn't make any sense.
The ship was Romulan. Doesn't look like anything that I've ever seen. And we have a drill that we need to hang by a chain that shoots superheated plasma or something, because we can't do it from orbit. But it does look pretty dang like a doomsday device to me. One well-placed photon torpedo would solve their problems. Lord Nero. Huh. He's a minor. Good question. How did he get on? He's trying to save the bridge. Ooh, Romulan's attacking the Kelvin. You should know this. Because they thought that there was a warp core breach. Cadets logic is sound. Okay. They didn't know that they were related at this point. They'd never seen a Romulan. They'd seen their ships, but not Romulans. If the timeline only shifted when Nero showed up, they would still not know what Romulans look like or what they are, just what they sound like. R2-D2. Let's fly through a debris field. We do have shields on, right? Well, we are showing off how Sulu can fly, so I guess that's nice. And that's a really big saucer. No other Starfleet vessel would be that big. Not at that time, anyway. Oh, there's the bad guys. There they are. Oh. So we're gonna fire and destroy and so all of Starfleet got destroyed in like the space of 3 minutes. But the Enterprise is still alive. I don't know what that's supposed to be. Magnify the hull. Oh, it's significant. It's the Enterprise. Great. Again with the hello. Hi. Romulans don't do that. Obviously. Yet. And still no one is freaking out that the Romulans look kind of like Vulcans. It'd be more obvious if they have hair. You're not supposed to be here. Let's send you to do something dangerous. Okay. But we have a big giant screen in front of the ship. And the bridge is translucent. No. No. I think I saw a Romulan with hair. So we have lots of people standing around doing nothing, standing around this ship. Okay? This is one of the stupidest devices in the entire movie. So what does it do exactly? How does it work? You just need that tiny, tiny, tiny amount to create a black hole that will destroy an entire planet. Space jump. Promoting him to first officer. No, Captain, you are still the captain. He is in command. Distinction. She's already been scraped up. Oh well. So many doors in the turbo lift. McCoy is now Chief Medical Officer. So people get promoted just for either on a whim or because people die. So we're basically saying that the entire Enterprise crew came together by accident. There's our red shirt. He's so excited to kick Romulan ass. He's gonna die. Okay. Here we go. Out of the shuttle bay. Dramatic shot. Fencing. That's hand-to-hand combat. No. Okay, here we go. Flying. And there they go. Orbital skydiving. That is something that we know that Kirk likes. But we're not seeing any sort of atmospheric entry things like friction or anything. Now they're in the lower atmosphere, but still no any friction or fire. No physics. Okay. And the red shirt is still stupid. Yeah, so we had our obligatory red shirt death. And Kirk's about to go down the same way. But he found a handhold. And we have retractable parachutes now. That's kind of cool. And there's guys inside the drill with something that sounds like a shotgun. So instead of grabbing the gun and shooting him with his gun, you punch him in the face, you pull out your gun, and your gun gets knocked away. And now you have to fight with a helmet. And so everyone has to almost die the exact same way. But let's do the retractable parachute and pull myself back. Ooh. He's got a retractable katana, because that's fencing. That's not fencing. Someone just doesn't do their research. Ooh. A la Star Trek 3, hanging off near the fire and having things stomped on. Wow, you missed. And again. Well, that's using your environment. So the Romulans can have beards, but not hair. Okay. Okay, you're safe. Time to blow the thing up. Yeah, that does work. You can still call him Commander Chekhov. It doesn't matter. Ooh. That just looks ridiculous. Buzz Lightyear to Star Command. Okay, so minutes. So they retract it, and it's been damaged and it turned off. But it's still going to work. Don't move. So one guy falls, and then you chase him. Yay! Oh, and they lost the chute. Okay. Let's just make this as tense as possible with lens flares all over the place. I can do that. Okay, so suddenly Chekhov, who never has operated transporters, can suddenly operate all the transporters like an expert with a joystick. Okay, so we changed the transporter effect to something with swirlies instead of sparkles, because that's better. Gee, I wanted to see swirls around me. Okay, there's no staircase. Looks like the cracks of doom. Running through tunnels. There's a cave-in happening, and they're still standing there. 'Cause that makes sense. So I don't really care about the Vulcan High Command. It's really because my mother's down there, and a guy gets smashed. Okay, so now we know it's tense. And there's lens flares underground, and someone else gets smashed. So it's all about mom and dad. No one cares about the culture, really. We have like 4 people survived. Don't move. They're in transporter containment. They're already beaming. And it's taking a lot longer than it normally did. And Spock can still move. Transporters don't work like that. When you're locked in, you're locked in. You can't fall out of the containment beam. Especially when it's already engaged like that. It's been engaged for a few seconds already. You don't move. We've seen in all the other parts of the transporter, you stop moving. There's like a second where you can still move. But you can't. So, but now we have dramatic moment. We now have cause for Spock to get angry. And the whole planet gets sucked in from a single point. A single spot. Whereas the... Okay, that makes more sense. The whole planet just goes at 1. Okay, because there's a singularity. It pulls from all areas. Okay, then. No word from Captain Pike. Gee, he's a hostage. They should have saved Contra. Only 10,000 survived. Okay. An endangered species. Your gene pool is still big enough. Those look like normal elevator buttons. So now we see that there is something a little bit more than instructor and student. Because that's totally okay. He needs you to stop climbing all over him. Because that didn't happen in the original timeline. So the warp effect is the same. Oh, listen, listen. Water on the floor in a starship. Why? Prevent a genocide by committing genocide. This ship just makes no sense. There's water and wires on the floor with smoke. Now we get the sob story. She's got hair. Retribution. 25 years, Brandon exam. Do nothing. So, misery loves company. Okay. So I'm going to create a Romulus that exists free of the Federation. And Romulus wasn't under the control of the Federation. Oh, look, Wrath of Khan. It even has forward little pincer thingies. Yep. So, pulls. They're heading to Sector 001 like everyone does. All the bad guys have to go to Earth. But Kirk is in the captain's chair. Yep, we get the damn it. I'm not a doctor, not a improbable. It must be the truth. Huh. Yeah, Sherlock Holmes. Which the details they could easily get. You'd think that the fleet was on its way to Earth already. Ooh, here we explain it. Parallel to the universe. Alternate reality. Yeah, exactly. Precisely. Oh. Our destinies have changed. Here's JJ saying, you have no idea what's going to happen. I can do whatever I want. Nerve pinch. Uh-huh. There's some atmospheric re-entry. Welcome to Hoth. It's like Iowa with snow. Oh wait, now there's bumps. So he's recording into his tricorder. Prisoners of war. So he's going to debate the finer points of Starfleet martial law while trying to stay warm and get to a starbase. Well, now he gets chased by large animals. I guess that serves him right. It's a Wampa wannabe. Well, there's always a bigger fish. But let's not eat that fish. Let's go after the even smaller meal. 'Cause that must be so much better if something else was chasing it. Okay, and now it falls down the cliff after him. On ice. So that thing's landing didn't break the ice. Into the cave! And the creature comes into the cave too. That was a much bigger hole than it appeared, apparently. It's using its tongue to pull him in. Why didn't it use it before? Well, it's a good thing that they're afraid of a little fire. Oh, look. It's Spock. think he'd say Jim. And always shall be your friend. Let's quote Wrath of Khan. Fan service. Yep. It's kind of surprising that Spock wouldn't realize that he shouldn't call him old friend at this point. No, he's not the captain. He knows a great many things. Yep. Mind meld. To destroy the galaxy. A single star. Is there something special about this star that makes it different? Because stars go supernova all the time. Obviously, it's not Romulus's star. Absorb it. Okay. We still haven't explained how it's going to get to Romulus. It destroyed You didn't see it coming. How fast was this thing moving? Was it moving faster than the speed of light? Moving at warp. The physics of this just make no sense. So, I've also heard the explanation that it was traveling at subspace. But if it was traveling at subspace, I'm not convinced it would make it either. Nero went through first, destroyed the Kelvin. And they waited for 25 years. He was waiting for him. Oh, wow. So he holds Spock responsible, but he also holds the Federation responsible. So Delta Vega has to be a moon of Vulcan or a planet in the same system for him to see it, but it didn't look that way. And also you have quite the atmospheric disturbance of a storm during the day, but he can still see the planet get destroyed. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Yes, you did know your father. became captain after the proper amount of time had elapsed, and he went through the ranks normally, even still being a young captain at like 35. There's a McCoy phrase. So we make Spock act like a butthole so that McCoy can call him a green-blooded hobgoblin. So we get from him liking him to really hating him pretty quickly. That works, I guess. It's Echo Base! And now it looks like something out of the Matrix. Just this long tunnel with ceramic tiles and mid-20th century sound equipment. And crash bars. I'm hearing a Klingon scanning device in the background. Never seen this alien before. Let's just introduce him for comic relief. And a Starfleet base looks like a really poorly run basement. Oh, Tribble. So Scotty wants food. Transwarp beaming already. Transwarp drive isn't going to be invented for several years at this point. Which they've done. Well, Admiral Archer. That's a decent reference. Is because it hasn't been invented yet. Yeah. Doesn't believe time travel. Well, most people don't. Without a proper receiving pad. a la Star Trek 4. Transparent aluminum. Spock is not coming with you because that would throw the timeline even more out of whack than it already is. Preferably not. Emotionally compromised. I think that's something that the medical officer can do. Oh, well. It's cheating. So he's telling them that he learned from Kirk. Live long and prosper. Well, at least we got to see Leonard Nimoy do that. That's cool. The transporter worked a lot faster. Here's the Enterprise. We're back in the Budweiser plant. And Scotty's stuck in a water tank. Somehow. Which conveniently then decides to send stuff. So, in engineering, we now have metal and transparent aluminum, I assume, pipes with water running in them that are big enough for people to be in instead of small plasma and EPS conduits and stuff like that. Because it totally makes sense. But it adds for tension. And now we've got a big spinny choppy thing all the way at the end. And an emergency hatch. I guess it's a frequent occurrence for people to get stuck inside the pipes. Perfect timing. And that didn't dump much water out. Unauthorized access. Why is there no one in engineering? Yeah, this is the Budweiser plant, but we just slapped some radioactive symbols on it because the Enterprise has either a need to create beer or nuclear fission. How did you get here? Okay, so now we have more insubordination. Don't answer. So now we're gonna... Now he's gonna push the issue. Fear. Yep, he did see what he did. Well, I mean, this is provoking. With a Vulcan going full out at you, Kirk should be dead, because Vulcans are substantially stronger than humans in Earth-like atmospheres, which is what the Enterprise is kept at. And finally, it dawns on him what he is doing. Lens flare, you can't see the reaction. Emotionally compromised. Oh, yay. So now he's done. Now, logically, the command should go to the next superior officer, who I'm not entirely sure that is at this point. There's a corridor behind the bridge, because there's space for that and for people to walk around. Yeah. More pertinent comments. Just follow the chain of command. Yep. Not kidding. Of course he doesn't. See, there we go. There's Captain addressing the crew. Or they are. Okay, got the picture. So now Spock's gonna stand at the transporter, which looks something between the machine from Timeline and the Next Generation transporter. What is necessary is never unwise. I feel like I'm a child, which is a bad thing. You'll always be a child, because that's consoling. So... do not try to control anger. Well, you should try. Why did you marry? Because it was logical? That's what you said last time. Oh, there we go. There's an emotion. That makes more sense. And Spock is flabbergasted. My Vulcan father had an emotion. Vulcans do have emotions. They just suppress them. Travel past Saturn. You only need to go at warp 4. Nero must be just lollygagging on his way. He must be like, oh, I am doing so well. I can just go attack everything on my own sweet time. Okay. Spock's back. So, question. Common ancestry. You didn't know that yet, but okay. Okay, so now you're expressing your human side. I'm coming with you, because let's put all of our captains in one place. Yep, Kirk will ignore it. We're getting to know each other. We still hate each other. Oh, look, pretty shot of Earth. San Francisco. And the drill apparently still works after having been blasted. But I guess they had time to repair it. So he's already at Earth. So he wasn't lollygagging. But now the Enterprise warped into an atmosphere. That doesn't make sense. And now we've got thrusters firing on the saucer to lift them up, when we could just as easily use the impulse engines. But no, we want this awesome shot of gas falling off the top of the saucer and the Enterprise emerging, I guess you could say, triumphantly from this ball of gas. Cool. So the transporter couldn't work very far. Then it could transport onto a ship at warp from light years away. Now it can transport from Saturn to Earth. How the transporters work is not exactly consistent. Granted, I've seen it not consistent across episodes, but it's not consistent in the space of like 20 minutes in a film. And let's have Kirk awkwardly looking at Uhura and Spock kissing all over each other's faces on the transporter. Nira? Her name's Nyota. Whatever. JJ does what he wants. Scotty's confused too, just like me. No, there's no common sense to anything of the enemy ship. Oh, look how quickly the transporter worked. That was a lot faster. But rematerialization took forever. Pew! Pew, pew. That sounds like Star Wars. That sounds like the Naboo blasters from Episode 1. So, no one can hit anything. And we've got... The ship is laid out... Oh, yeah. That's... Ship is laid out very strangely. One of them is Vulcan. Oh, because that's so unusual. Starfleet having Vulcans. Now Nero himself has to go investigate. Oh man, the flippy phaser. Why would you do that? That's just more pieces to break. Starfleet engineers wouldn't do that. They're a little bit more functional than that. And it flips again to kill. Okay, we have stun blue, kill red. Ho ho! Brilliant. Is he mind melding with a dead Romulan? I don't think that can work. Unless, of course, that's the one that he may have stunned earlier. Okay, so obviously they stunned the right guy. Unless underlings are supposed to know everything. Oh! Let's run towards the thing that's destroying San Francisco, right next to Starfleet Academy. Run through hallways. Run through hallways. They're on their own. Yes, because the drill activated. Oh. Because that blocks all transporters and communications. You'd think that they'd figure out how to make a drill that didn't do that. Those are kind of helpful things. You know, like, hey, something's wrong. Duh. It's from the future. Commissioned by Vulcan Science Academy, not by Starfleet. I already have. Suddenly he calls him Jim. Oh boy. Twisty chair that looks a lot like the Emperor's throne and the gunner station from the Millennium Falcon all put together. Okay, we have spinny stuff with one engine. I'm not entirely sure why this ship has to have spinny things to fly. Oh, and in case you didn't know, the name of that ship is the Jellyfish, which is why it looks like that. Why is it called the Jellyfish? Because it looks like that. Why did Starfleet name it the Jellyfish? Because it looks like that. So it's basically a tautology. There's not really any sort of reason as to why you'd call a ship a jellyfish. Like, whatever. Now bad guy standing ominously on the other side of a chasm. And no attention paid to surroundings, so you get hit in the head. Good. So everyone's familiar with Earth's history. I mean, granted, Kirk is kind of a big deal, so people from the future would know him. But okay, so now we have something out of episode 6. James T. Kirk was considered to be a great man. How did Nero know that George Kirk was on that ship? If he had access to that sort of Starfleet information, he would also have access to Starfleet's codes from that time. Oh well. Well, like I said, pretty easy shot to the chain and problem solved. But now it's going to fall towards San Francisco. And guess what it's going to hit? Because it only works. Well, at least it didn't break the bridge. So he's yelling Spock. How very like, Khan! So so we'll just pull everything that we know from the old movies and just kind of throw it together. Classic really bad guy goes running away. Hero left with dorky villain minion. Ignite the red matter, it'll destroy everything. 'Cause it's so much. Okay, now we have Galaxy Quest. Things chasing him. Now we went to Warp, so we're gonna go to Warp. That was a very strange Warp effect. Slow-mo jump across an endless chasm, but I still make it. And so does the bad guy. Okay, so bad guy now falls because he fell for the classic, I'm not paying attention to where my prisoner's hands are. Spock learned very quickly how to pilot that ship. And there's a trail behind it like a rocket. Okay. He's pulling the same thing that everyone... Fire everything to try to destroy a very small ship. Missiles. Why do you have missiles and not torpedoes? Who knows? Another ship. The Enterprise, and it fires Star Wars cannons, not phaser beams. But it's destroying all the missiles. Yay. Okay, now Kirk found the inexplicably waterlogged room. Well, Pike had the wherewithal to shoot. Good job, Pike. Still on a collision course. No escape pods. No, let's get out of here. Just stare at the screen. See, that's a pretty big explosion for that little of a ship. But the Kelvin was an even bigger ship and didn't do that much damage. So... who knows? Now, there's all this red stuff, and it's gonna blow up, I guess. Blah, 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 shaking, shaking. Oh, oh, oh. There it goes. So singularity is opening in the middle of the ship. That's only as big as the ship, whereas you dropped a single piece of the matter, dark matter, red matter, and it created a singularity the same size. You'd think that the one, if you're blowing up more, it'd create a bigger one. No, whatever. So suddenly Kirk is all diplomatic. But Spock's not. Just, you don't have to shoot at him, just turn around. Why waste bullets? He's going into the thing anyway, so you might as well just kind of... So we created a black hole. What about the possibility of them being dragged into another time? But no, it's just a normal black hole this time that's just going to destroy them, I guess. And now Nero has to make peace with the fact that he's stupid and going to die. And the black hole toilet flushed him down. Warning, gravitational pull. You're kind of close to a singularity. No, you're not at warp. You're in gravitational field. You can't engage warp engines in a gravitational field. That's a fairly well-known fact, even though they do on occasion ignore it. Giving her all she's got. Okay. Oh, cracks in the ceiling. Eject the core. Sounds like insurrection to me. Okay. So now we get to see what the core looks like. It's all those little beer fermenting things. So the core is all these little pieces instead of a core. Boom. I'm hearing warp sounds. You shouldn't be in warp. See, that explosion, that huge explosion, is what a warp core does, kind of, when it blows up. So when the Kelvin blew up in the first part of the movie, it should have destroyed Nero's ship. But let's be inconsistent about warp core breaches. Yeah, you survived. Be happy. And now we're back to Earth. Yay! Everything's okay now. And people are just chilling in Starfleet Academy. Nothing happened. Just a whole class got decimated. Ancient old Vulcan standing in Starfleet Academy must be Dad. First person plural pronoun. Spock doesn't appear to follow his own rules. So because the timeline didn't unfold properly for us to already be friends, I decided to make sure that it would happen. I exaggerated. Oh, you implied, okay. Okay, so now we have a Vulcan colony. You should already have Vulcan colonies. Just go to one of them. Okay. Self-serving. Huh. Well, yeah, because you're old. But wait, the timeline has changed. Good luck. Okay. I guess a Vulcan would say that. And Spock, young Spock, just stands flabbergasted. Captain James Kirk. They should call him Cadet. Commendation. Okay, so that makes sense. You have a commendation. So, you're a cadet, and now you're promoted to captain. I am relieved. I'm not. You stand relieved. Your father would be proud. Okay. And now everyone's so happy. But we've had people save the universe so many times, and they don't just get promoted like 5 or 6 ranks at once. You don't go from 3rd year cadet to captain of a starship. So just so you know, captain in the Navy is pretty high. Okay, so the Enterprise is all set, and the captain walks on to the bridge in his proper gold shirt this time. What dilithium chamber? Okay. What are those red things? No idea. And here's Spock. So Spock is now first officer. A lot of this changing in rank stuff just kind of seems arbitrary. Like there's not really a whole lot of reason. So, take us out. That is a Kirk line from Generations. Wait, here's the original theme. The Final Frontier. It's Spock saying it. Dun 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 dun. That's the theme that we want to hear. See, this makes sense. Oh, key change. Okay. Where no one has gone before. Okay, that's the theme that we want to hear. See this at the end. This is the original series theme from the original 1960s show. So, based upon Star Trek, in quotes. Yeah, it's based on Star Trek, loosely. Okay, so this end credits scene is pretty cool. Like, you're flying through planets and you're seeing names with lots of lens flares, and you got the classic Star Trek theme just blaring in your ears. That's beautiful. See, that's great. So, there you have it. That is me sitting watching Star Trek 2009. I know it's probably not the best commentary you've ever heard. I wasn't exactly talking the whole time. And I probably didn't say exactly the most interesting things. But that is, if you wanted to experience watching the movie with me, that's kind of what it would be like. Although, granted, if you were there, I mean, if you were here with me watching the movie, then I would be probably a little bit more sarcastic about different things, particularly some of the characters and some of the future things that are going to happen in the next one. But I figured that I'd leave that for the next film. So if I'm going to... I think what I'll do is I'll move on to that shortly and record a commentary on that so that you can see how that is. Well, at least from my perspective. So, there are plenty of reasons why I do not like this movie. Some of them were expressed while I was watching it, some of them were not. I may write something on my blog to fully explain why I don't like it. But if you happen to like this movie, and you're like Peter, the comments about temporal mechanics just don't make a whole lot of sense.
Well, there is, I can, if you ask me, I can post a link to a very, very well-written article that attempts to tie this movie into the original Star Trek timeline and make it one cohesive whole. It is a brilliantly written piece. I don't exactly agree with it. I think it's a very, very logical working out of how this could work. But I'm of the opinion that that there's just some of the character differences between the original series and this film are just a little bit too much to allow for that. So, but anyway, that's kind of it. So I'm going to move on to the next film and see how that goes. If you enjoyed this, good on ya. If you like the new movie, don't tell me. Lots of people have. I've heard it about 5,000 times. So this has been, I believe, my 5th time seeing this movie. It was interesting, as always. Anyway, next up, Star Trek Into Darkness. We'll see how that fiasco goes. Well, live long and prosper, everybody. Have a wonderful day.